am a living witness to the Shinnston Tornado. It happened when I was 12 years old. It happened the evening of June 23rd, 1944. And we were on wartime, which really means daylight saving time. It happened a little after 8 o'clock, which of course would really be standard time, a little after 7 o'clock. And my sister and I were playing out in the yard, and she's 5 years younger than me. And it had been stormy off and on all that day. But at that time, the sun had come out. It was warm again. And suddenly I heard a noise. It sounded kind of like a train coming. And it got louder and louder. And I looked up the valley, which meant I looked up the west. And I saw this big black cloud coming down out of the west. And within seconds, I saw the big black funnel dangling down from the cloud. Well, I knew what it was because not too long before that, I had seen The Wizard of Oz, so I knew all about tornadoes. And I ran into the house and told my mother, and her sister was there too, Mrs. Templeton, and they thought I was just being troublesome, and they said, "Get back out, quit bothering us." So I ran back outside. Now it was closer, and it looked like I was about ready to head down the valley toward our house. And I ran back in. I said, "Please come and look." So then they did. And the minute my mother saw it, she realized I wasn't kidding. And she ran back in the house and picked up the telephone. And back in '44, we had the party line, and you picked up the phone and contacted the Shinnston operator. So my mother immediately got a hold of a Shinnston operator and said, "A tornado is headed towards Shinnston." And the operator thought she was either drunk or making merry, and paid no attention to her. And then my mother and my aunt came running out, and we watched the tornado. When it came near our home, it jumped over, thank God, it jumped over a hill and went down Pickett's Run, headed straight towards Shinnston. Well, then we were afraid of our friends and relatives who lived in Shinnston. A lot of our relatives and close friends lived in the town or in suburbs of it. So the rest of that night, darkness soon came. There were ambulances and cars going up and down the road. And the store near our home was owned by an old lady called Mrs. We said Row, R-O-W-E, today it'd be Rowe. And we sat on her porch till about 2:30 in the morning. And some of the cars would stop and tell us what they had seen up the creek, up Binghamton Creek. They said the destruction is awful. And they would mention people that were badly hurt or even killed. The next day, which was a Saturday, good friends of ours went to Clarksburg and took my mother and my sister and me with them. And so as we drove to Shinnston, we saw the terrible, terrible destruction that had happened. Shinnston was full of people that had come from far away to see if their friends and relatives had been hurt or killed, and of course curiosity seekers. The National Guard was there. Older Boy Scouts were there helping direct people and traffic. We passed my uncle's house in South Shinnston, which is right on the edge of Route 19. It had been picked up and thrown off of its foundation, and my uncle and aunt had been minor hurt, but thank goodness not seriously hurt. Then John L. Finlayson, he wrote a book published right after the war called The Shinnston Tornado. And it had become real rare, and copies were selling, some copies up to $100. Recently, the Harrison County Historical Society has reprinted the book, and I think people can buy the book for about $15.